This week on the channel, we got nobos that have stepped off and how they're doing, nobos that are just stepped off, nobos that are getting ready to step off, and the excitement that they got going on, and just it's palatable out there, folks. It's awesome time of year for the hiking community. We're also going to talk a little bit about the lure registrations we got out there, and we got some great news about the trail and the clearing, how the trail maintainers, those awesome trail maintainers, have worked diligently, and they have got the trail in great shape as far as being able to get through. So we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we got Luscious. He is out there on the trail. So he has made it all the way to probably now he is at the Knock. So his video I got coming up here from him, he's at Way Bald, but he's probably at the Knock and on his way to Fontana. So let's go ahead and listen to his video.
Hello, Ramdino. Luscious here. Just a quick update. You can probably recognize where I am. I'm headed from Waya Gap to Tellico Gap today and looking to tackle the Smokies next week. Right now I'm just enjoying this gorgeous day. It's the first really kind of warm day in the 50s since the day I started, January 17th. So all's well out here on the trail. Thanks for everything you do. Talk to you soon.
So he indicated also that he had experienced negative wind chill factors out there. So he's not quite as far along as most folks are, the time when he started, but that's because he had like a whole week of single digit temperatures out there with negative wind chills. And so he did spend some time off trail at Mountains Crossing and Green Dragon, but he seems to be making up for that. He did indicate the times he stayed out there that his cold weather gear held up great and he was in good shape. So that's all because he went out there and went all the way from the Outer Banks up to, I think he went to Canada to test out his cold weather gear. So that's awesome way to do it, to make sure everything's working. He did that, and so no surprises from him. And then Canadian Bacon, she has gotten on trail. She sends in this video.
Hey Ramdino, Canadian Bacon here. I have arrived at Amicalola Lodge. Hiking for Miracles is imminently going to start, and I am so excited. I am so excited. I will take all the prayers and good wishes I can get because goodness knows I am not a gal that skinny dips. I am a chunky dunker. So thanks for everything you do, and hopefully I'll catch up with you down the trail.
So she is well on her way to that first big goal that everybody's got in mind, and that's just making it there to Neal Gap. Wolfie, he's back on trail, and he could very well be back into the Smokies. He sends in a video.
Hey, Rambino, Wolfie here. I am sitting at the NOC. From Western Bolt Shelter down to the NOC, the trail's in beautiful condition. Prior to that, there's a lot of slush and snow. But I'm going to do a hi-ho, and I'm going to eat my lunch here, and then I'm going to head on to Sassafras Gap. It'll be a long day, but I'm energized up. TTF and ta-ta for now.
And then Old Spice, he's gotten on trail, but he had never sent in his intro video, so he sends in this intro video.
Hey, my name is Kent. A few years ago, I was hiking with a friend, and I received the trail name Old Spice, so you can call me that. In 2006, my family and I were at Clingman's Dome, and we went down to the trail crossing where the Appalachian Trail sign is, and I pointed at it, and I told my daughters, I said, hey, when I retire, I'm going to do that trail. And they were pretty enthusiastic. They thought that would be fun. And then they said, how long is that trail, Dad? I said, well, it's about 2,000 miles. So they said, oh, sure, Dad. But I retired at the end of 2024, and here I am. So follow along with me if you want. Try to make it all the way to Katahdin.
So his story's a lot like mine, and it may have happened at the same spot. So you'll remember he went there and said he went down there at Clingman's Dome, and where the in the Smokies and where the trail crosses there on a spur trail coming out there from Clingman's Dome, and how he said one day I'm going to hike that trail. Well, I remember distinctly, if it wasn't there, it was somewhere else nearby where I went out on trail and where I first got fascinated with the AT. I walked out, I touched the trail, and I looked north and realized that I could walk all the way to Maine on that trail. And I looked south and could walk all the way to Georgia on that trail. So that was just so intriguing to watch those blazes disappear up into the woods. So that is pretty awesome, Old Spice. Appreciate you sharing that with us. And then Jameson, he started the approach trail. He says the steps were not as bad as he envisioned. Rachel, she's gotten on trail and she registered as hiker number 50, and that was today. So she is left out of there. She's doing the approach trail. And she said after hiking the falls, she decided rather than do the approach trail, she would just go ahead and catch a shuttle up to Springer. She didn't want to kind of get discouraged too quickly doing that approach trail, and that happens quite often, so she's going to save it for the rest of the trail there. Fancy Pants and Curious George on their Bama to Baxter, they sent in a video.
Hey Ramdino, Fancy Pants and Curious George checking in with an update. We have some milestones that will be coming up soon, reaching the halfway point on the Pinhoti Trail and also crossing state line from Alabama back into Georgia. We also have our new Bama to Baxter thru-hiker tag. I am number 105 on the back, so kind of excited about that. Have been releasing daily videos on YouTube at Hiking with Fancy Pants and Curious George. Continue to nurse my ankle. It is improving, but still taking ibuprofen, so some days are slower than others. Things are going well.
I didn't even know a Bama to Baxter bag tag was a thing, or a card was a thing. So pretty cool there. Looks like Curious George is none the worse for the wear. So looking forward to their continued trip. And then Nutty Hiker, her husband Sir Farts a Lot, and Ripley, they are on the Pinhoti. Of course, they're doing the Bama to Baxter. I'm going to start calling that the B2B hike, but they say that trail conditions in the Pinhoti are good. And what the heck, let's just go and let her tell you all about how they're doing in the trail conditions.
Hi Ramdino, Nutty Hiker here with Suspenders and Ripley. We're on the Pinhoti. We just hit mile 111 and want to give an update to any of those who might be doing the Pinhoti this year, doing Bama to Baxter. From Adams Gap to the Stairway to Heaven, water's pretty good. And then the Stairway to Heaven to Chia State Park, don't count on water, so make sure you fill up before then. And then from Chia State Park to mile 111, water is flowing pretty good frequently, so you shouldn't have an issue. Trail's been okay, not hardly any blowdowns or anything like that to worry about. So yeah, that's our update for out here. We're still making our way to Maine. See you next week.
So awesome video there. That is exactly what we want to hear, how things are going on with you and your family, and how things are going on with the trail, water conditions, trail conditions, all of that. Wonderful, wonderful information there that you sent us out, Nutty Hiker. Sir Farts a Lot did get a different trail name now, and he is now known as Suspenders. And so she did also indicate that they had passed the 100-mile mark. So that is awesome. Congratulations for them. Looking forward to their continued updates coming in here. So hikers we got from my support list that are starting next week. We've got Fortune. So Fortune, this is his second hike. I think he hiked like last year or maybe year before last, but this is his second go around. And then we get Mama Bear, not to be confused with Mama Bear and Bear. This is a different Mama Bear. So she's getting ready to get started. We got Norway, international hiker from Norway. We got Mr. Frog and Deneth. So these are all folks that are on our update or support list that are starting next week. If you'd like to be on that support list and you have a social media, or even if you don't, and you just want to update us, then the link to put yourself on it is down below, as well as the link to, I think we're pushing 200 or over 200 now that we've got on that list of folks with social media. So you hiking communities, go out there and pick you a bunch of them, and let's support them all the way throughout the course of their trip. And then I did want to congratulate Top Shelf. So Top Shelf is Sobo that we had reported on a couple times. She's great friends with Bright Eyes to help with the search for Sadie. And during last year or this year in 2024, during her hike, she got off trail, came down, helped with the search and then went back and continued her hike. So she is done now. And interesting enough, I found out that she had finished from one of the other folks that got started. I think it was Old Spice told me that he met her on the approach trail. So that's pretty cool, but congratulations to her. And then we got a couple intro videos. People that hadn't got started yet, but they're getting ready to get on trail. We got Sarge. He sends in his intro video.
Hey Ramdino, I'm Charles. People back home call me Sarge. I am down here in southwestern Georgia, coming from frozen Pennsylvania, down here with my folks getting ready for the AT. I start in February, mid-February, so I'm down here doing some pre-hiking. You can see there's a lot of destruction on this trail from the hurricane that they're just now getting down to this trail and clearing it out. But everywhere's a work in progress. But all my social medias, if anybody wants to follow me, are all Sarge Outdoors. That's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and even TikTok. Sarge Outdoors. Take care.
Dutch, he's got one.
Hi Ramdino, my name is Mike Holland, also known as Dutch, and my channel name is Where is Dutch. I just want to let you know I'm going to be starting the Appalachian Trail in early February 2025, going northbound. And I want to shout out to you, say thanks for all you do for all the hikers out there. I love your updates, and I'm sorry about your hand. I hope everything is healing nicely, and I'll see you out on the trail. See you soon.
Oliver and Kotomi, they are actually, Oliver is a National Forest Service Ranger out west, and they are going to be getting on as Sobos. So pretty cool. They've hiked the Arizona Trail over a 2-year span. Now they're coming out here and going to do a thru hike, but they're doing Sobos. So that is awesome. They'll be starting sometime in March. So here's their video.
Hello, I'm Kotomi.
And I'm Oliver, and we're out here in the beautiful Superstition Mountains near Mesa, Arizona. And we wanted to announce that we will be hiking the Appalachian Trail in March of 2025. Last year we completed the Arizona Trail, and we're looking forward to our next adventure. Wishing everybody best of luck this year on their thru hike, and we'll see you out there.
See you soon.
Awesome. Appreciate that, guys. Thanks a lot for sending all of those videos in. And then we do have one one hiker that we were following that had to get off trail due to an injury, and that's Titanium. So Titanium's like me. He's got a titanium plate somewhere on him. I'm not sure. I don't think it's in his wrist, but in any case, he had to get off. He took a fall between Unicoi and no, it was coming down Unicoi where he took a fall there. He said it was really icy. Don't know if he had micro spikes on or not, but he said it was very challenging, and he tried to suck it up, but he had to get off there at Dix Creek, and so he's going to go back home and get that evaluated. Registrations. So registrations continue to be down from the year before, but they are up from what we had from last week. So we've got 57 more NOBO who have signed up for a total right now of 1,515 NOBO. We had 7 Sobo, or rather flip-floppers that signed up, and so we're up to 114, and we had 30 Sobos sign up last week, and there we're up to 83 Sobos. So that brings us up to about 94 additional hikers from last week. From 1,618, we're now looking at 1,712 folks that have registered for their hike. Now, so registrations are down from previous years, and it's really continued since 2020, which was a huge year because there was a lot of pent-up demand for people had to get off in 2019 and 2020, and I meant to say 2021 is a big year because people had to get off in 2019 and 20 for COVID. And so that was a big year, a lot of pent-up demand, but now, since then, they have been trending down steadily, and we're actually below where we were before COVID. And so there's a couple reasons that I feel like is because of that. So some of these people are concerned about the trail not being open and the trail damage. Well, I don't think that is, while I'm not discounting anybody's concern or anything like that, I don't think that's a valid reason not to get on trail if you would otherwise were going to get on trail. One, that is a very short section of the trail that was ever damaged compared to the overall section of the overall mileage of the trail. And not only that, most of that has now been punched through, is unhikeable. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. And then you could always do, as the ATC wants people to do a flip flop. I'm putting out a video on that. Why I'm not real happy about that, but that is an option you could do as well. You can always shuttle around and come back and do that later, which would make it a flip flop. Or if it's a closed section in there, then you presumably don't have to do it. If all you're out for is just the thru-hiker badge and the thru-hiker piece of paper from the ATC, they'll still recognize you if you have to skip over a closed section, because not everybody can come back. So if that's piece of paper is something you're interested in, then you have an out there. So, but the registrations, I think that's one of the reasons that the registrations are down. And that's really not one of the reasons not to hike, is because that short section there of stuff closed. I have heard from multiple sources, from individuals and from trail providers out there, from people that are part of the economy of the trail, that people are just, they've decided as a protest to the ATC, they're disenchanted with the ATC and the things the ATC has done over the past few years that have caused damage to the hiking community and the trail economy. And so they're doing it as a protest. They're not going to register their hike. I've heard that from multiple folks off there. So it's going to be interesting to see as the season progresses and I go and poll providers if they are seeing less or equal to last year or remarkably less. That's going to be interesting to see. If you're a provider out there on the trail, a hostel owner or a shuttle or somebody like that, leave a comment down below. I'd be very interested to see. And of course, right now, hikers are not, they're all down in, starting down in Georgia. So it would really be limited to mainly to hikers and to trail providers in Georgia or economies down in Georgia. So let me know in the comment section if you're seeing a remarkable drop-off in hikers there as opposed to last year. And then last year, the economy was not just great. So a lot of people don't have the extra money right now to get out there on trail and do a thru hike, because they probably spent a lot of it because inflation was through the roof over the past 4 years and even last year, and the economy wasn't great. And so people are probably concerned about that for one thing, but they also, the money's just not there and they need to reconstitute those savings and do that. And then you've also got, anytime there's a new turnover in the executive office, the president, then there's some uncertainty there. And when that happens, then people naturally, they think twice about doing something. They want to make sure to see how things are going to pan out in the economy to make sure they still have the job. And then a lot of people right now, because the economy was bad, they do have that uncertainty. They're worried about, okay, if I quit my job or take a leave of absence, is my job still going to be there? Now, this is not a political channel. I don't like tying anything into politics. Those are just the facts. So let's please not go and make this into a political discussion. I served in the Army for this country. I believe in freedom of speech. However, this is not a political channel, and most people come here don't want to hear politics. And so if you leave a comment that's a overt political comment, then let's just don't do that. If you do, I'm just going to delete it because that's not why people come here to do that. And so we got some amazing news out there about the amazing progress we've had on trails. So currently we have a short section about 2.3 miles or less that hopefully is going to be cleared by the Carolina Mountain Club and the Tennessee Eastman there at Spivey Gap and to, I believe it's Whistle Pig Gap, something like that. So there's just a short section that they have there that's where the line is from, on one side Tennessee Eastman Club maintains, the other side CMC maintains. And so the CMC side at Spivey Gap, they just got a short section there that needs to be finished punching through, and they're supposed to be getting that done next week. So that's going to stop that. And then at Iron Mountain Gap and from Cherry Mountain Gap up to, not Cherry Mountain Gap, but Cherry Gap to Unicay Mountain, there's about a half-mile section that hasn't been cleared. So that's supposed to be cleared this coming week. And then there's 7/10 of a mile from Cherry Mountain Gap up to Iron Mountain Gap that has not been cleared, has not been punched through, and will not be punched through for the foreseeable future because the ATC is looking into, not the ATC, the National Forest Service is going to be doing a salvage operations to go in there and salvage the timber in that area. So there's so much timber in that area that's been blown away and like a bomb went off, and it's all laying horizontal now, that they've decided they're going to come in there and salvage it. So that's more than likely going to happen, and there's no point in trail maintainers punching through only for equipment and loggers to come in there and just destroy all of their work. So they're not going to do that right now. They will have to wait and go in after the logging operation has happened and do a lot of repair work. I do have a workaround that I have been giving permission to give that to you now, although I've not been given permission to produce a map, and so I'm not going to produce a map yet. I would, my sources have asked me not to do that, so I would appreciate it if you folks out there didn't do it as well. And when the time is right, I'll let you know, and everybody can produce their own map. I'll put one out there. But right now, that salvage zone begins at Nobo 36 for 364.1 to 364.8. So here's two reroutes that are most likely going to happen, still in a state of flux. One's going to occur before the timber salvage, and then the other one is going to happen after the timber salvage starts. So for now, hikers, they can jump on to the right. Now this is traveling Nobo. They can jump on to Right Fork, Beans Creek Road, or John Gooden Road, and my sources indicate that Far Out refers to these roads as all of these. But essentially, at Nobo mile 364.1, there's a fire service bear-proof trash can there that actually a local homeowner who's a trail angel has purchased that and put that out there for you. So Nobo hikers can turn 30 feet to the right there and walk this road to Iron Mountain Gap. This is a prior U.S. Forest Service road through there. But once salvage begins, hikers should detour onto the old AT, which is Forest Service 230D. And the club up there, the Tennessee Eastman Club and the National Forest Service, they're going to punch this out and make it passable prior to the salvage operation, and they will blaze it. And then you're going to go from the 230D to Forest Service 230. And this is a road between Indian Grave and Iron Mountain Gap. You're going to head out to Tennessee 107 via Red Fork Road, cross 107, and connect to an old Forest Service road called Birch Log. And so right now this has been tentatively flagged, but it's not approved and it's not endorsed by any agency or club there. So that being said, the trail is hikeable with the exception of what I have just told you, that short section there from Unicay Mountain to Cherry Gap and there at Out Mountain Gap. The rest of the trail is hikeable. Now, that the trail is closed in some sections. So the ATC's put out a map that says it's closed in there, and I'm not telling you to go through a closed section. I'm just telling you those sections are hikeable. The part of the reason they've got that is because the Pisgah has closed some of their sections. And I suspect they've closed some of those sections because they're trying to get money to come in there and do salvage operations or for something else. So as long as they don't open it up, then they can go in there and they can do certain things that they can do to try to get more money for that. The other forests around there, the Cherokee and the Washington, they chose not to do that. They would rather the public have access to it. I don't know why the Pisgah forest decided they didn't want the public accessing it. They're more worried about getting money in there. I understand it takes money to run things, but same time, you're actually there for the public, right? So anyway, that's just what I feel like may be happening. May not be happening at all. That's just my opinion, and that's an opinion in that. And $5 will buy you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. I did have a National Forest Service employee lined up to come in here and be on the channel and tell us how things are going out there and the great things that are going on and the struggles they've gone through and everything. And it was all going to be information that was already put out there publicly. Unfortunately, when you go to work for the National Forest Service, probably the Pisgah, I would imagine, since they've been the most nefarious of any of the forest services that we've been dealing with through this tragedy and this devastation. This person was not given permission to come on the channel. They were told not to by, I suppose, their superiors. So because they just were, they didn't have permission to come on here. So apparently, when you go to work for the National Forest Service, you check your constitutional rights with your W-2 at the door, and you're not allowed to come in and speak about stuff that's already public information. So that is unfortunate. Hopefully, we'll get this, he or she here, whenever that happens, whenever they allow them to speak about it, because I would like to have some firsthand account of what they're doing out there. There have been a lot of National Forest Service people that have gotten out there on the trail, and they've worked hand in hand with the trail maintainers, and they're doing awesome work out there. So thanks a lot, you National Forest Service folks that are doing that. Greatly appreciate that. And hopefully we'll get a chance to be able to talk to them sometime in the near future. And then last week I covered something that the ATC has done. So the ATC is a put together and approved reroute around the Chestoa Bridge there in Irwin. So the Chestoa Bridge there at Uncle Johnny's got washed out, and so they have put a road walk around there. And last week, you'll remember that I put out, it was my opinion that was a bad call, because that is a very dangerous road walk. There are trucks that are repairing the railroad track that's upstream from there, and that is a very narrow road, and these trucks, hundreds, are going up and down the road every single day, and they're not going to get out of the way for people. So I'm concerned somebody's going to get hurt. And even the road where trucks aren't on, those are still busy roads. So the easy answer was, well, let's listen to what's happened here.
Now, an Appalachian Trail Conservancy trail reroute along 3.6 miles of roads has him both hopeful.
I'm excited that the ATC is the catalyst here and they're forcing a solution. And I think that's the most important thing here.
But also concerned about hikers' safety on a route that follows a narrow road used for a railroad rebuild and then busier highways.
There are hundreds of dump trucks that go up and down River Road every day. They don't mean anybody any harm, but they're not getting out of anybody's way.
Wise hopes the ATC will consider additional options and promote them. He thinks he's got one that would also help hard-hit whitewater businesses.
If I were a hiker, it wouldn't be my choice to walk that route. I would get ferried right across this river, and we can do that. We have the resources here, and at the same time, the right people get a little bit of money and keep their businesses going.
So as you see, I'm ahead of my time, right? No, I'm not going to say that, but it is interesting to me that I come out with the idea of rafting, and now they have come out with the idea of rafting as well. And of course, this is from Cheetah up there. He is a proprietor of Uncle Johnny's. So, Cheetah didn't get it from me. I'm sure Cheetah came up this with his own, because it's very obvious. It's right there at his doorstep of what needs to be done. A ferry would be the easiest thing to get across there. It puts money in the pockets of people that need it in the economy up there. We already have a ferry on the Appalachian Trail up in Kennebec, across the Kennebec River up in Maine. So why can't we have a ferry here, even if it's only temporary till the bridge gets built, which will probably be years from now? Why can't we go ahead and have that now? So ATC has some resiliency fund money. They could spend it on that. I bet you we could raise some money and get that done. But that seems to be a whole lot safer, and let's just say it, a whole lot more fun than doing a freaking road walk with busy dump trucks and everything else around there. So anyway, that's just my opinion. Huge shout out to Marty. Marty is a homeowner and a trail angel up there in the Iron Mountain Gap area, and Marty has purchased a bear-proof trash can and put it out on the trail. I referenced that just a little while ago. He's put it out on the trail for folks to use. So thank you, Marty, for doing that. Greatly appreciate you being a trail angel. And Marty also agreed to be on my trail angel list. So I have a trail angel list that is to be used only in the case of emergencies. You know, if you're a hiker out there on the trail, a thru hiker, and you can't, there's no available for hire shuttles, or you need to got an emergency situation, you can't find anybody else to get you off the trail, these folks will come and help you. And so I have that trail angel list, and you can ask for that, but you either need to be on my support list, or you need to be registered with the ATC, and I'll have to see a copy of that registration. I'll need to vet you out to make sure you are a thru hiker and you are who you say you are, to protect those trail angels that have come on there. Still need more trail angels on that list. Thanks for everybody who has put themselves on that here lately and previously from years gone by. Greatly appreciate that. So my wrist is healing good. On a personal note, everything is going right along as it should. I've got pretty good. I can make a fairly decent fist, but everything's going good, and hope to be out on the trail in maybe a couple months from now. So that's about killing me not to be out there. Got some great videos coming up. I'm going to talk about economies of the scale. We're going to finish our interview with Bright Eyes and the hunt for Sadie and finding Sadie. And if I said economies of scale, I meant economies of the trail and how that's being affected or could be affected by the ATC. And a lot more content coming out. So stay tuned to this channel. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss all of those stuff that I coming out. Leave a comment down below. Love your comments. Love answering those comments. And as always, appreciate you. And we'll see you out there.